What's up, guys? There we are, nice. I just want to do a quick, straight to the point video of my first computer that I built 20 years ago. I was 14 years old, and my first got interested in computers was, I think, maybe in 94, 95, when I went to my cousin's house for Christmas, and he showed me Quake on his PC. So ever since, you know, from that day, because I was so amazed of graphics and stuff like that back in the day, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna build my own computer. So I started reading, those big, thick, like phone book kind of computer parts books that had all different companies and different parts and stuff like that. This was before, you know, uh, dial-up, when I had dial-up, you know. Um, so I read the books, I looked at where all the parts went, what they were for, blah, blah, blah. And I finally said, all right, I saved up. I was in high school, and I had like a little part-time job, and I was saving up. So my first computer, the motherboard was an 8-bit, as you see here, and this was a Pentium 2. Um, well, at the time it was a Pentium 2, 233 megahertz. This one's going to be 333. So here you can see the AGP, which is the accelerated graphics port, which was basically like a PCI Express back then. Of course, you have the PCIs, which is 32-bit, and then the ISA, which is 16-bit for the old cards. This board supported, I believe, up to 512 megabytes of EDO RAM or SD RAM. And at the time, back then, I had 64 megabytes. That's 64 gigs. 64 megabytes. And that was the shit back in the day. And as you can see, you have your floppy controller port and two IDEs for your hard drives and CD-ROM drives. And so I had the board, CPU, and my primary graphics card was a Diamond Viper V330. And this was obviously NVIDIA. I believe this was their second or third chipset back then. As you can see, it was 97. This had 4 megabytes of video memory. Not 4 gigabytes that we have today. 4 megabytes. So this was capable of playing, say, Duke Nukem 3D, Doom, stuff like that, like DOS games, and Windows 95 games, Windows 98 games. So yeah, that was my first card, VGA. And then I upgraded to a Voodoo 2. So this card I actually got at a computer show, and this was before I was able to order parts online, and I didn't have no credit card back then, and everything was COD, cash on delivery. If you bought something, you would mail something what you wanted to order, and then they would send it to you, and then you would have to have a money order up front when the delivery guy came, UPS guy, FedEx, whatever. So anyway, so I went to the computer show. This card was worth back then $250, which was a lot. So with this card, I actually played Quake 2 and Unreal. So those two games, those were the two main games I played on this card, and I had a great time. That was one hell of an experience, and I was, happy as a pig in shit, basically. And then for sound, I had the Sound Blaster OS64. This guy, it's crazy how he has the original box. I believe I paid maybe $100 for this back then. I don't recall. But yeah, so this was my sound card. And then I forgot what computer case I had, but I basically bought this 90 bucks for parts. Comes with a floppy, a CD-ROM drive, and 2 hard drives. So as you can see, you got the CD-ROM up top, the hard drive in the middle there, and then another hard drive. So I'm going to basically if I can, if those hard drives still work, I'll reuse those to load up Windows 98, Windows 95, whatever. And I need those ribbon cables so I can hook everything up. So, and the power supply. So that's that. And then that was my Pentium 2, and then I upgraded to a Pentium 3. So Pentium 3, this is a 1 gigahertz, but my original was a Pentium 3 733 megahertz, and I think that was $350 back then at the computer show. And I bought, I think, 256 megs of RAM back then. So from 64 megabytes to 256, that was a lot. And of course it has the AGP and the PCI Express. They did away with the ISA, which is obsolete. And yeah, man, 733 megahertz was the shit back then. I was happy as a pig and shit also back then. So with this board, memory, CPU, of course comes with a graphics card. So at that time I bought a Voodoo 5 5500, which also did the 2D desktop and 3D acceleration. I had a great time with this card. This card, I played Unreal Tournament with this card a lot. I forgot what other games I played with this card. But anyway, the fan bearings were going out, so you would hear it, you know, whining. And then one day I turned on the computer to play Unreal Tournament on my 56K online. It just wouldn't boot. There was the computer would start, but there was no screen, no display on the screen. So I figured it was a dead card, and I wasn't gonna diagnose it. So anyway, so then my next computer was a Pentium 4. And this is what it looked like, a Dell Dimension 4400. And the funny thing is I got this for free. Okay. I worked at a warehouse part-time, and I worked on the second shift. It was like 5 to 10, 5 in the afternoon to 10, or whatever. And I stole this from my job. So one day I went to the main office. I was just looking around. I forgot what my boss wanted me to get or something. I looked around. They had these computers that Dimension. So I cracked it open because I was curious, and basically found out what it had. And I was like, all right. So then one day I had everything planned out. My supervisor was still there. I brought a high-low, a forklift, aka forklift, high-low, forklift, whatever. And I brought it over to the one side. I went into the office. I got the computer, disconnected everything, put the computer on a pallet that had an empty box. So I put the computer in the empty box on top of a pallet, and then I drove all the way to the other side of the warehouse where my car was. And of course, I put it right in the trunk, like nothing happened. And the next day, you know, the manager brought everybody into the cafeteria and was like, somebody stole a computer, blah, 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 wait till we catch you, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, and I was playing Counter-Strike on this computer. I think my graphics card, I think it came with a Radeon Rage Pro, I think it was. And I was playing the first Counter-Strike on it. And oh man, I had a blast on that. And at that time I had cable. So from 56K to cable was one hell of a treat. I don't know if whoever looks at this video, I don't know if any of you knew The Wiz. It was basically like a Best Buy, and that's where I got my service. There was some kind of deal going on with Cablevision or Optimum, which is it is today. It was called Optimum now. If you live in the tri-state area, PA, New York, Jersey area. So yeah. Then my next was this was a LGA 775 chip that you could put. So it was basically a was it a quad, a Core 2 Duo quad? Not a quad. Yeah, I think it was a quad. It was the quad. And of course, I bought the most expensive CPU and graphics card at the time. Um, so I had this board with the $1,000, I think it was, the Extreme. I think it was i7 980X at that time. And so I had was a GeForce 9800, and then I upgraded from a 9800 GT to a GTX 295, which I can show you right here actually. 280, yeah, 280. So you can see here 280s, two BFGs back in the day, and I actually had a third one from my friend. He sold it. Here we go. Core 2 Extreme QX 9770. It was a quad core with that chip. Look how much I spent, 1500 or 1500, and then two of these cards was over 1100. So then I believe I upgraded to a 295, GTX 295. And of course you can see here $631 for that. And then I upgraded to a X58. I had, was it two? Hold on a sec here. Let's see. Okay, I had the 580s. Where the hell was it? The 580. Okay, here we go. 580. So I had two 580s at the time, over 1,400 bucks. And then let's see, I upgraded to 480s. No, it was 480s, then 5. So let me go back here. Yeah, so 480s I had. Well, two. I bought another one later on. So it was 480s and then 580. And then I upgraded to a X79 board. At that time, of course, I had the $1,000 CPU. Wait a minute, this was 1366. Yeah, this was the 1366 chip with triple, and this was 6 gigabytes I had, DDR3. Then I upgraded to X79, which was quad channel. I had $1,000 CPU. Oh man, losing my mind here. And basically, I had 64 gigabytes of DDR3. Had the Dominator. And I think that was like $300 to $400. So at that time, I had 680s. Here we go. 680s for the wins from Amazon. Over 1,600 bucks. So there you go. That's the proof. And then after the 680s, I bought. Let's see. I bought actually 3 Titans. There we go. Bought 3 Titan Superclocks. And that's over 3,300 bucks. So it was the 680s for the wins. Then I sold those and I got the 3 Titans. So yeah. Then at the time it was 780s I upgraded. It was 780s. So here I showed you the proof of 780s. Where the hell are you? Sorry guys. So there we go, 780s. So I had 2 780s, and then I believe I had 1 780 Ti. Yeah, because I just bought this. Then I heard the Ti was coming out, and then I bought the Ti and I sold this on eBay. Everything I sell is on eBay. So 780s and then 780 Tis. Then I upgraded to an X99 board, and I upgraded to a 980s. So I bought this board. I bought the Extreme 6-core 12 threads from Amazon, I think, or Newegg. Then I had 16 gigabytes of DDR4, which at the time when it first came out was over $440 just for 16 gigabytes. Today, right now, doing this video is probably it's probably $100 right now. So with this system, I had 4 980s, and I'll show you the proof. 4 980s from Newegg. So over 2,300 bucks. Then I say, you know what? These graphics cards were getting so advanced that you can run, you know, Crysis and Crysis 2, Crysis 3 on one card with the 780s and the 980s, 980 Ti's. So I sold this board, and I got a Asus. Was it Z97 AR? So I got 2 of these boards. Wow, that was bad. There's a good picture. So I got 2 of these boards, basically identical, with 497K, or jeez, I'm getting confused with these numbers. 4790K processor with 16 gigs of RAM with low latency. I think 7 is the speed on it. So 16 gigs. I have 980 Ti's on it, on both. So that's pretty much it. I remember when Samsung came out with their SSDs, it was the 840 Pro, 512 gigabytes, and at that time when it first came out, it was $850. Until this day, I don't know, like, I'm just like, how the hell did I spend $850 on a 512 gig SSD? Now you can get a 512 for like $150 now. So I don't even know how much money I've spent in 20 years of building computers. Probably like $50,000 or something like that. But yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. I'd show you proof of the 980 Ti's, but I'm sure you guys can believe me because of all the proof I've just showed you. So I think that's pretty much it. 480s, 580s, 680s, 780s, 980s, Titans, and then probably later on I'll probably going to wind up getting the 1080s Ti when they come out later this year. Probably I'll probably get like 1 or 2. I think 1, because 1, it's just so damn powerful. It's ridiculous. Like, not like back in the day when you had Crysis. I had the GTX 280, and I had two of them running Crysis. I was running maybe 30 frames max, less on harsh, blowing stuff up. So now you can run these games on one card. It's ridiculous. But anyway, just want to keep this short. Alright guys, thanks for watching.